Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the new day where we talk about the Design Nuances Edu series, the place where you learn a nuance of a new topic specific to design, fashion, or architecture. You get to interact with an expert and absorb the knowledge that they share and get introduced to a new school and understand their purpose. And today we are interacting with Pearl Academy, and they're represented by Dr. Sanyogita Chadha, who is the campus director for Bangalore. Dr. Chadha, a little more about Dr. Chadha. She is an academician, researcher, industry professional, and entrepreneur. An alumni of the prestigious MS University Baroda, she's completed her PhD on anthropometry and standardization of measurements for men from Mumbai University. I understand this is a very crucial issue being faced in the fashion industry right now. Um, she's worked on pattern making for men from London School of Fashion and finance for non-finance from XLRI Jamshedpur. She carries 2 decades of diverse industry experience and have created the design frameworks for brands like Alan Solly, Peter England, Indigo Nations, Colors, and a few others. She's headed the School of Fashion at Pearl Academy and was the head of School of Fashion at UID Ahmedabad as well. She enjoys straddling between academics and industry with equal passion. Dr. Sayogita is an avid reader, dog lover, enthusiastic swimmer, and passionate about baking and the outdoors. So, for those of you who are keen on understanding a little more about Pearl Academy, or those of you who'd like to apply to Pearl Academy, you could go on to DQ Edge and click on this application link and you could apply. Otherwise, for those of you who are probably considering Pearl Academy for next year, you could click on this link and get the information that you need. I'm going to stop here now. And Dr. Sayogita, she's also accompanied by Shruti. And morning, Shruti.
Good morning, Dion. Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Good morning.
So, so we'll start off with Dr. Sayogita, and Shruti will join in later at the Q&A session. Dr. Sayogita.
Thank you so much, Dion. Always a pleasure interacting with your students because they're amazing. Thank you for organizing this session. Good morning, Shruti. Thank you for being here on a Sunday morning. Good morning, parents and students. I think Bangalore is an active city and most people are okay for a Sunday morning session. So thank you for bearing with us on a Sunday. And I'm going to share a screen and I'm going to talk about a little bit about one slide about who we are. And I think most of it is going to be about careers. When we talk about fashion, or we talk about fashion design, or we talk about design in general, I think we lose out some of the careers, opportunities that are there staring at us in the face. So I'm going to try and cover that. So Dion, I'm going to talk about not just fashion, but fashion related subjects as well, and touch upon communication design and interior design, which are gaining so much momentum in today's world and are as important as any other discipline. So we've been around for 30 years. And I think as Pearl Academy, we believe that designers need to be global professions. We need to be complete design professionals. And I think Dion will agree with me that the days of saying, oh, you're a designer, you can't head a company are over. I think today a lot of designers are heading companies. But in order to be able to head a company, in order to be able to be a total professional and not just a designer, but a design professional, we believe global exposure is important, life skills are important, and you need to be a little bit tech savvy. And I think as days are going, technology is becoming a larger and larger part of our life. Yeah. So I think at Pearl Academy, that is something that we're focusing on. Global exposure, not because the West is better than us, no, but I think it's good to know what is outside there in the world, and it's good for the world to know what we in India can do. So I think that is the global part of it. Life skills is beyond our core competency. I think, how do we communicate? How do we come across as individuals? How do we actually work with teams? How do we collaborate? How do we work not just as individuals, but as a group? And I think life skills is a huge part of what we talk about. And I'm going to jump straight into the topic so that I don't take away my time from what I've come here to talk about. And I'm going to talk about just careers, and I hope that's okay, Dion. I'm going to just touch on various careers that are available to you now. Whether you go to any design school, a good design school, you will be a design professional, and the idea is that you see more of what you can do. So fashion design is like this huge umbrella. Yeah, we offer something called fashion design and technology. It's all about fashion design, and I think it's one of the older design careers. Everybody knows about fashion design. So the largest one is, of course, being a fashion designer. You can become a Sabyasachi, you can become Manish Malhotra is actually a stylist, but you can become a Rajesh Pratap Singh, or you can become any one of the big designers that you talk about today. Yeah, that is the larger one. But there's also something called a fashion strategist. Now, many companies also need someone to decide the way that the company is going to run. And I'm talking about companies like a Dior or a Versace or one of those kind of companies, which began as fashion apparel companies run by people, but they're looking at professionals to come in and strategize their moves. So if you look at even the way the LVMHs or the Louis Vuitton group is moving, I think they keep getting new people in. They get designers of repute. They get people of repute to come in to kind of strategize the way the brand will be taken forward. It's great to be a fashion designer, but as businesses grow, it becomes a big business. And I think that is one of the things that fashion design actually enables you to maneuver to, with of course some added skills, but you can actually strategize how bigger brands can grow forward. A lot of fashion students, also a lot of companies look for product developers. Now, a product developer is somebody who catches a trend, he sees a trend, he works on it or she works on it, and they actually come up with a product. How do you develop a product? From the time you get inspired to the time the product hits the store, what is the role that you actually play? Important then to, of course, understand sizing, important to understand pattern making. Of course, you need to know fabrics, you need to know what will work with a particular product. And believe me, this is like a large part of what industry really wants you to work on, developing products. Because when you develop, say, 10, 15 products, maybe one becomes a hit that season, but the other products also gain traction. So product developing is like a huge thing. And sometimes this becomes a gray area because somebody who's a merchandiser says, I'm also developing product. Two different people do it, but they work together. Yeah. A garment technologist may not be a fashion design centric person, but he would understand fashion design. He would understand product. He would understand fabric. He would understand more about the technical parts of how a garment is made. Very sad, but today we don't have too many garment technologists only who work, because as I said, some lines are getting blurred. So I think most institutes, fashion designers also learn this. This is all about the production part of what happens to the garment. Like you have a sketch, the sketch becomes a product, the product then moves into technology, moves to the factory. How does that work? And while we think factories are very dull places, believe me, a lot of action happens out there. The garment technologists work on the product to see what should the stitches be like, what kind of machines would you use, would that fabric actually suit that particular design that a designer has given actually on production. And while everyone does their part of the research, it finally comes to the factory person who actually decides, does this work or not? So big lot of all of these are related, as I'll come at the end. And of course, you have merchandiser, design merchandisers, and these are also fashion design people who don't want to design, who don't want to be in their factory, but they have the skill to balance both. So when a fashion designer gives you a garment, you have a person who comes with the tech pack, the spec sheet, you have a sample in front of you. A design merchandiser works as this person between the designer and the factory actually. So when the government technologist comes back and says, look, this is not going to work because I think your designer has forgotten something, the merchandiser actually goes back to the designer, works with the designer to make sure that the end product comes out the way you've actually envisaged it. Because very often you think of a product and you say, oh, this is going to look like this really amazing product. And when it comes to the final production, it doesn't really meet up to expectations. It happens, and that's part of what we do. But I think there are all these checks and balances that help you to get the product you have planned. And of course, you have fashion educators, people like me who have done work in the industry, worked really hard right from scratch to coming up. And then we decide, okay, we want to share our knowledge. We want to come back and educate youngsters like you. So a lot of people move to education who have the passion. Education is all about passion. And I think those who have the passion for education do become fashion educators. A very big part of this, and this is now blurring, so I'm going to just touch upon it. We used to have we have people called fashion illustrators. So they actually sketch beautifully. Today, technology is a huge enabler. So, even if you have an idea, you're not good at hand sketching, you can use tools to actually put up an illustration. And I think it's really cool the way designers, the way, people today are using technology as tools. And fashion illustrators are people who are so talented. They're so dynamic because they're such gifted people. Yeah, but today with technology, they're becoming even better. So I think that's really exciting. And then you have consumer behaviorists who actually keep tracking fashion trends to see what is happening, what are people looking at, where are these trends actually moving, right? And is what is coming out into the market really what people want to buy? Is there a gap? So they keep analyzing behavior. Is the consumer changing? And you have AI today which supports you in all of this. We have another huge field which is called fashion styling and image design. Initially, a lot of fashion designers became fashion stylists. Today, it's a field on its own. It's a science. It is something people study. Yeah. So you have various kinds of stylists. There are people who love fashion, don't want to make clothes. And I think it's fine. You don't want to make clothes, but you have the knowledge and you have the background and you love fashion, you have this passion. They become stylists because they love putting looks together. Yeah. And you'll realize at the end that they all work together. You cannot work in isolation. A fashion designer works with a fashion stylist, who works with a textile designer, who works with a communication designer. At the end of the day, everybody works together. So you have commercial stylists, right, who just do styling for commercial purposes. You have people who just earn a living on blogging. If you look at Miss Malini, she's one of those people who began blogging about fashion. And today she's got such a great following. And there are many, many, many more like her who do that. There are corporates who employ fashion designers and stylists to come and train people to dress their part. Everybody doesn't know what to wear, how to wear it, and I think they do this. You have image designers, so the people you see on your TV screens. The way they look are very somber when they're giving you serious news, very festive during the festivals. And everybody has an image that they want to portray, and that is done by the fashion stylists and the fashion designers. You also have personal shoppers. These are people who are really leading a fast-paced life. They don't have the time to go and shop. They employ people to go and shop for them to make sure that they create the look and the persona they want the world to see. Yeah, if you're a CEO of a company which is actually a sportswear company, you don't want to look like this formal person. You want to look like this really cool, fit person who's into sports, who believes in being, who wants to dress leisurely but still look really powerful. Past personal shoppers help them to do their shopping. And of course, you have social media managers who manage the pages. And you cannot be any of this if you're not actually trained. So all of this requires training. And celebrity stylist is like a big thing today. Every celebrity has a fashion designer and stylist working with them. Important because when a celeb steps out, we all want to know what they want to an occasion. At the airport, you have airport looks, you have looks for every occasion, and sometimes difficult for one person to do all of this. So they employ stylists. And of course, you have fashion show stylists who only work during fashion weeks to make sure that the models, the look, come across the way the designer wants it to come across. Textile design and technology. I'm coming to the third topic in fashion, just textile design. And I think this is like the basis or the backbone of the fashion industry. Yeah. And textile designers today don't just work with the fashion industry. Today, textile designers are working with car companies, they're working with interior designers, they're working with people who do events, they're working with a lot of allied industries, because everyone has realized that textile design is the base of a lot of them. Initially, earlier in my generation, textile designers worked only with mills. Today, that whole thing has changed. Brands employ textile designers. Designers employ textile designers to create the kind of textiles that they want their collections to look. So, huge field, an amazingly exciting field. We live in a country called India, which has got a huge heritage of the most amazing textiles. Every state in our country has great textiles. And I think it's great that we have people who study this. They also can become retail buyers. See, fabric coordinators used to happen, but today they all work in sync with, other industries or with designers. They also become design consultants. So there could be brands which actually come up and say, I want to work with a textile designer who can do a festive range for me, and I want this kind of a look. So textile designers come up with fabrics, with options, with prints, with surface ornamentation to come up with what you're asking for. A lot of textile designers start their own business, and it's beautiful because some of them are revivalists. In Bangalore itself, we have a beautiful living museum called Vibor, where she actually works with textiles, and she's a textile entrepreneur, a textile revivalist. And it is so beautiful the way she works with textiles. And you go to Vibor and you see the most amazing textiles. Yeah. A lot of the creative people also are from textile background. And because design is so interdisciplinary, you find a textile designer moving into fashion. You have fashion designers who work on textiles. And I think the whole design field today has become one which has got blurred lines. So you might study to be a textile designer, but you actually land up becoming a fashion designer. You become a fashion designer, and then you say that no, textiles is really what I want to do, and you actually move into doing textiles for apparel for the car industry. Today, every car industry employs a textile designer. Of course, they also they become creative heads at the mills and wherever there's a lot of textile work happening. And of course, they can become design educators. I mean, it's really nice to find young people who want to come and teach textiles. At some of our textiles in this country are so unique, and we are losing some of them because we're not really promoting them enough. But I think there's a lot of work happening in the social sector with the promoting textiles. And it's amazing the way people like Pavitra Vibor work on textiles. Another really interesting field in design and in this creative space is interior design and technology. There used to be a time, I think, when interior design was more architecture. Yeah, but today I think that is the main part of it. And I think a lot of people, a lot of architects work, with interior designers to kind of, put together what they want. What an interior designer does, an architect creates the shell, okay, of a building or whatever. Interior designers work on the interior part of that. So the shell has to become a really fun food joint. An interior designer will work with the architect and with their design direction to put that together. So if you walk into the food courts, you walk into amazing hospitality today. Hospitality is huge. So if you look at any of the hospitals, hotels, meeting places, cafes, each one of them has a unique look, all put together with the help of an interior designer. So they work on the softer part of it. They're not interior decorators, which sometimes gets confusing. Interior decorators work on cushions and curtains. Interior designers work on structure. They work on lighting. They work on the way that space can be used. So they work very closely with architects. Really interesting to see how architects and designers come up with these amazing spaces that you and I go to and we feel this hospital looks like a 5-star lounge. Or you walk into a theater and you say, oh my God, this looks so amazing. Or you walk into a food court and some food courts look really wow. These are all interior designers. They also work as art directors for a lot of companies. So a lot of, I think, builders today employ interior designers. So when you are buying a house, when you're going to see a new place, you'll see a villa which has been done up beautifully. The space has been utilized probably interior designers work with the architect to get that done. And a lot of event designers work with interior designers. Really strange how life has come a full circle. Event designers used to be only about the music and the ambience. Today, only about the music and what they're putting up. Today, event designers are huge in their own way, but they all work with interior designers because if they want to produce a theme that somebody wants, say they want to do a Hawaiian theme or they want to do something which looks very out of this world, an interior designer will probably be the right person to work with them to put that theme together. So they will look at the nuances, they will look at the details, they will look at what kind of lighting you would need, what should the space actually talk to you about. And probably work with a textile person as well to see whether the kind of theme you're putting, the sofas, your upholstery, the kind of colors you're using, does that go with your theme or not? Interior design today, people who wanted to do architecture at some point of time also come in and do a PG in interior design. A lot of people who love architecture but felt it was too tough do interior design as well. So most architects move to many architects, not most, many architects actually straddle interior and architecture. They still do design to get this part of it, and technically they're so strong in architecture that it kind of works well. Coming to fashion communication. Okay, so this is really exciting because when we open a magazine, we open Elle, we open GQ, we get so blown by the pictures that we see. Yeah. So you see these beautiful women, amazing clothes, all done by stylists. So a fashion designer puts the clothes together, gets the range ready. A fashion stylist puts the look together, right? What kind of makeup do you need? What kind of lighting would work for you? What is the kind of hair that you want to do? And then you have a fashion photographer who actually comes and shoots that. And then we look at it and say, wow. And then we read the content and we say, okay, this sounds really exciting. So fashion communication people or fashion communicators actually do that part. So they understand fashion. They're great at writing. They love writing. They love researching. They follow the trends, and they put this written part of what we read together. So when you also go to, say, a website, you go to an Amazon website, which tells you, okay, pair this with this, or this is this is a kind of skirt you're going to look at. The blouse you're looking at a shirt which has a Lego mutton sleeve or a balloon sleeve, or this is a V neckline, and whatever the descriptors that you read, all done by fashion communication people. These guys are amazing. They write beautifully. They understand fashion. They know exactly what to put out there that you and I consume. So when you look at a magazine next time, read the content. Or when you go to a website, read what is written. It's a fashion communication student or a person, professional, working along with a fashion designer, working along with a fashion stylist, and we get to see that. A lot of them cover fashion events. So if you have a London Fashion Week happening, or you have the US, you have a New York Fashion Week happening, or you have a fashion week happening in India as well, a lot of the commentary that we read is done by the fashion communication students or fashion communication professionals. And it's really interesting how they put that whole thing together. They also work closely with fashion designers. So every fashion designer would have a fashion communication person with them to tell you what the designer is thinking. You look at a garment, you don't know the terminology, you don't know what the skirt is or what do you pair it with. The fashion communication person puts that together. Many fashion communication professionals, because they work closely with photography, because they're involved with photography, also become fashion photographers. Now, some you'll ask me that why should I study fashion communication? I want to become a photographer. I think you need to understand what you need to photograph. How does it need to be done? And when you work or when you study this and you're working so closely with professionals, you might figure out that this is actually what you want to become. Of course, publishing houses, because they're writing all about fashion. Event designers work with fashion communication, or fashion communicators actually become event designers. So when an event is happening, the fashion communication professionals are working closely with them. I mentioned GQ, Vogue, those are all fashion and lifestyle magazines. All of them have a huge number of fashion communication professionals out there. And today, content development has become such a big thing. Everybody wants content. You can have a visual, but who's going to write the content? That is when a fashion communication professional comes in. It's a little less known field compared to fashion design, which is a larger field, but it is as exciting and as interesting as ever. Of course, then you have the business people, fashion, lifestyle, and business management. I could touch upon this very briefly, but it's a very, very important field. So you have people who study the business aspect of brands, but they also study the products. So they understand products, they understand trends, they understand fashion, and they do something really important, which is actually visual merchandising and retail. So if you look at the way the structure is or what kind of job opportunities come up, a lot of fashion communication also talks about visual merchandising, but a lot of fashion and lifestyle business management courses touch as visual merchandisers. What is a visual merchandiser? When you go into a store or when you look at the store, the way it's been laid out, what attracts you to walk in is the way the merchandise is laid out. It is not the merchandise only. It is the way the merchandise has been set up. How are the walkways planned? I mean, what is put together with what? How do you actually look at that store? Visual merchandisers work really, really, really closely with the merchandise, with the product merchandisers, with the fashion designers to come up with the way to make the product look exciting. They bring the product to life. That is what makes us walk into a store. You might like a brand, but if the display is not exciting, probably walk off. But when the display is been put together interestingly enough, you actually walk in because that's what you want to do. That's what you want to walk in and look at it. That's what a visual or retail merchandiser does. And it's really interesting. It's hard work. It's a lot of aesthetics which kicks in. It's product knowledge which kicks in. It's all about understanding trends. It's about understanding what do people want to look at. Luxury is a huge sector where the fashion, lifestyle, business management professionals do well. Luxury is niche. You need to understand how luxury works. But that is a really niche segment. Of course, fashion consultants. Today, you open any of the websites where you're buying, you would have a fashion consultant, a virtual fashion consultant who comes in and says, "Can I help you?" Or there's a bot chat which says, "Okay," opens up and says, "Can I help you with what you want to buy?" All of them understand fashion, but they also understand business. And of course, digital marketing is a huge part of what brands are doing today. Digital marketing after the pandemic has become like massive. Everything is digital today. All advertising is digital. We all consume so much of digital data. We all are shopping in the digital world. So can you imagine what is happening to the digital space? It's like humongous. Okay, I'm coming to something which is now becoming larger and larger, which is communication design and technology. I just want to check, am I talking in detail later about interaction design? Okay, I am. Okay, so communication design was actually called visual communication. This word has undergone many, many, many changes, right? So communication design now is this big umbrella. And Dion is laughing because there are so many subparts of this. So I'm going to touch upon this in brief. I just want to tell anybody, at one point of time with our visual communication, what am I going to be doing? Am I going to be designing sets? What is this all about? With technology, everything has changed, and this has definitely changed, and this has probably got impacted the maximum. Today, visual communication or communication design professionals, I think, are more in demand, less in supply. Everybody wants them. They all can work from whichever place they want to work from home, want to work from London, Paris, New York. It doesn't really matter. They work with a lot of technology. Every day the technology changes. These guys are adapting to it, adopting it. They are in demand by media houses, TV channels, you name it, and people want them. Okay, advertising companies, brands. You look at animation, which has gone through the roof. You look at films which have changed. You look at game design, which has now become such a popular career option. Yeah, and if I've not covered it in detail, I will come back to game design. I just want to say, communication design today is, I think one of the new sun is an industry which is booming. Young people who are really into technology, extremely evolved beings. And I'm telling you, when I meet these young people in my campuses, I get blown by their interest, by their aptitude, by their technological skills, and how much they know. Okay, so I'm going to come to UI UX. I don't need to talk too much about this because I think this has become like hygiene today. Yeah. So UI UX interaction designer, user interaction or user experience design. I think 5 years ago was a separate field. Okay, everybody saw it become a UI UX designer. Today, UI UX is, I mean, I think we're producing less, people want more. Everybody wants a UI UX designer to be part of their team. Many other design professionals are also doing UI UX because it is such an important part of what we do. And I think communication designers or designers who do UI UX are being picked by IT companies hand over fist. So when we have our placements and we have IT companies who come in, a lot of them pick UI UX designers first because they are huge. They're hugely in demand. Everybody has a website. Everybody has an app. Everybody is trying to do something in the digital world. Who better than into UI UX designers or professionals? So those of you who are really excited about, looking at apps and you want to create apps, you want to do something fantastic in that field, maybe this is where you should look. I've done this once. Okay, fashion, business, I'm not going to touch upon. And I'm going to conclude with the future of fashion. So before I go here, I just want to touch more about some opportunities in game design. Game design actually began as a field where people enjoyed gaming. Yeah. And Dion will agree with me that at one point of time, parents would say, don't be spending so much time on, playing on games. Believe me, this is a huge industry today, not just as gaming for gaming purposes, but as game design used for strategy. So game design is today being used by corporates to design strategies for their companies. It's being used by societies to create a better society. It is being used to analyze leadership skills in people. It is being used to groom new leaders of tomorrow, because gaming is such a big thing that you can use it for education. Gaming is I think gaming is one of those things that makes everything easier to understand. In a visual world where we all are so visually alert, not so much into reading, but so visually alert, and where visual communication hits us in the eye every time we walk, gaming has begun being used for things other than just leisure. And I think it's a great field. I hope it gathers more momentum because gamers are amazing people. If you meet, you can actually decide, you can actually meet people and decide, okay, this must be a gamer, because they're so differently wired and they're so, into what they're doing that it becomes really exciting to meet them and work with them. And we have some young people whom we work with who are amazing. So when they design strategy, when they design, they're working on something for corporate, so they're working for non-profit, not-for-profit organizations, they come up with some great ideas. This is the future of fashion. By 2026, we're going to be $190 billion industry. Yeah. The Indian fashion scene is exploding. I think it's brilliant. Of course, we've already surpassed 2022. We have gone much beyond that. Traditional wear has grown by leaps and bounces. And I think India's influencer market. So I didn't touch upon influencers because we don't train you to become an influencer, but a lot of designers start becoming influencers because that industry is growing by leaps and bounds. It's interesting how people become influencers and we invite them into programs because they have a following which is so amazing. So why does somebody follow an influencer? Must be something the influencer talks about. They talk about trends, they talk about styles. And influencers talk about food, they talk about pets. But since we're talking about design, they're the ones who talk about the latest creations and what you can do. Very, very exciting. This is the future of design, and I think this is really important. I think jobs require not just design skills, but they also require business and technological skills. And this was a report that I think KPMG had spoken about in 2021. At 2023, when the cusp on 2024 becoming more and more relevant. And it is not just the fact that you're a design and a creative person. I think it is important that every creative person also hones business skills, also becomes technologically savvy, because technology is there to stay. Now, whether you look at artificial intelligence, metaverse is being discussed, now that's gone. You have something called some other words, I don't get the name right now, but everyday technology is changing. We were talking about AI is in our homes today. Those of you who use Alexa will know Alexa is like listening to what you're saying, okay, you want to hear this music, Alexa plays that. So technology, AI is there to stay, and there's going to be more of it happening as we go. And every day this is changing. So unless we adapt and adopt technology, it's going to be difficult, because all our jobs are going to be with that. I think when so I was at an era that when AI came and technology was, becoming big. This is some years ago. Don't ask me how long, because I'll make me a dinosaur. We thought technology is taking away jobs. Technology is actually helping us. So if you just look at just AI, and you look at the way AI can data crunch for you, it'll take you days and hours to work on it. AI can crunch data and give you what you want. Yeah. So technology is like a huge tool that we can use to make what we are doing better. So as creative people, we need to create and we need to think ahead. We need to be innovative, but we can't do it alone. So technology is a great help. It's like your alter ego can actually work along with you if you use it that way. And I think that's really great. Design thinking used to be something that people say, oh, designers don't know how to work. Designers work very haphazardly. Technologists, people do engineering, have a very methodical mind. But believe it or not, every career, every field, every domain is today looking at design thinking, because design thinking puts the consumer at the center and works around it. And if you look at the way design thinking operates, every job can use with design thinking, because you look at a problem, you identify a problem, you come up with probable solutions, you do a prototyping, and so the entire process that a designer uses without realizing he's using it is becoming important for other jobs, because you're using empathy, you're using a little bit of psychology, you're putting yourself in the place of the person for whom you're working, for the designer, you're for the person for whom you're designing. Because if you don't do that, what you design is going to go to the museum, it will not be used. That's not what we want, right? So I think design thinking. So if you look at the future of design, and this is what I spoke in the beginning about being a complete design professional. It is about being business savvy, understanding design, adapting design, adopting it, and of course, design thinking. Okay, so I don't know whether I should touch upon this. Do you want me to talk about campuses, Dion? I can go into it, or I can just stop my presentation.
Maybe we have about 20 minutes left.
So I can?
So yeah,
Okay.
you can, but let's keep at least 15 minutes for Q&A.
Absolutely. So I'll just quickly go over this. We have 5 campuses across cities, 2 in Delhi, 1 in Mumbai, 1 in Jaipur. Of course, our newest one in Bangalore, which is now 4 years old. I keep saying new, but we're already 4 years old. We follow all safety protocols so that people are safe at any point of time. We have beautiful infrastructure on our campuses. So if you visit any of our campuses, and you're welcome to our campus on Residency Road, you will see a beautifully laid out campus with state-of-the-art infrastructure, with the textile labs. Our styling labs are gorgeous. We call them the glam spaces, and they're really glamorous. Our textile labs are beautiful. Of course, our pattern making labs are what every designer would like. But if you just walk in, I think you'll get a feel of what I'm talking about. We have 3D printers. We're talking about, so I think what I would like to touch upon here is not just the fact that we have equipment, but we also keep updating our technology. And I think that is also important, because what you learn today is out of fashion tomorrow. And believe me, for someone like me, it's very difficult to keep a track. Today, you say some Trezi is important today. Tomorrow, somebody comes and says, ma'am, Trezi is now outdated. This new technology has come, which is better than Trezi. And I'm saying, seriously? Yesterday, you're talking about Trezi saying, ma'am, today Trezi is gone, something else is come. This is just an example. Trezi is still there. But this is the way technology is actually moving forward. And unless we help our students to adopt those technologies, we're going to be left behind. So these are all some of the stuff we have. We make our students use all of this. So our fashion design students are using Cloth 3D to actually do virtual fashion shows, to create and design for the virtual way. We have 3D scanners. We have a 3D printer. by the way, despite all of this, I have students who come and say, ma'am, we need that as well in the lab. So that also happens. But this is part of what we're going to be doing. This is the future. This is the world of tomorrow where we're going to have a lot of stuff happening. And of course, we have all the medical facilities on campus. We have a lot of excitement. Every student who joins us gets Adobe Suite on his laptop. We subscribe to Business of Fashion. WGSN is really important. We try and make our canteen have healthy food. Sometimes I'm told the food is not tasty because it's healthy, but that's part of what we do. Yeah, but I think that's how the world is, and the students have to be fed good food. Our hostels are, we have tied up with Your Space at Bangalore campus. And before I close the presentation, I'm just going to talk about, can I talk about the degrees now? So I'm going to stop here and then I'll leave time for Q&A.
Yes, you can talk about
Okay,
it.
so I'm going to stop sharing. I think all of you would have read about it or heard about it. Pearl Academy, all our campuses are now going to be giving a BDes degree and an MDes degree. We tied up with the Rajiv Gandhi Youth Institute. Very difficult for me to go through that whole thing. We've tied up with Rajiv Gandhi Youth Institute of, what is the last two words, Shruti, if you can help me?
Yes, ma'am. It is Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Design.
Thank you very much. Youth development or youth design. It's an institute of eminence. We've just tied up with them. So 2024 intake across all Pearl campuses. They will get a BDes and an MDes program. I will leave Shruti to walk you through the programs that we're offering. I think she's a better person than me. So Shruti, over to you for the programs we're offering, and then we can open it for Q&A, Dion. And just by the way, Pearl Academy Bangalore has been offering a degree for the last 2 years. So we've had 2 years intake where we were tied up, where we were affiliated to where we are affiliated to Bangalore City University for degree programs. And going forward, I will come back to you with how the transition is going to happen. But the 2024 intake will be under Rajiv Gandhi Youth Institute.
National Institute of Youth Design.
Sorry. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Over to you,
ma'am.
Shruti.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for the detailed interaction which you had, and I'm sure many students have definitely they will use it. So it has been a very informative session. So, well, guys, I'm Shruti. I'm the campus counselor at Bangalore campus. So I'll take you through the courses which we offer at the Bangalore campus. Right. So, as Sanyogita ma'am was mentioning, yes, we are now come under an institution of national importance, and we offer the degree from the Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development. So Pearl Academy offers MDes, BDes, and BBA degree. So for the 4-year, we offer a BDes degree, and we offer the BDes in Bachelor's of Design in Fashion Design, in Textile Design, in Fashion Styling, Fashion Communication, Interior Architectural Design, Communication Design, and in Product Design. So this Product Design program is offered in Delhi West Campus and in Mumbai Campus. So coming back to the MDes degree is a 2 years program. So we offer MDes degree in fashion design, fashion styling, fashion communication, interior design, communication design, fashion and lifestyle business management. These are all the courses offered in Bangalore campus. However, there are other 2 courses which will be offered in Delhi West and the Mumbai campus, that is MDes in product design and MDes in global luxury brand management. This course is offered in Delhi South. So this information is also available in Pearl Academy website. So whichever students is interested in different campuses, please go through very carefully and then apply for the programs. So these are the programs which we offer on the Pearl Bangalore and different campuses. So yes, students, you will have to go through a very special, I would like to use this word, very a kind of a criteria where you will have to prove yourself to get into Pearl Academy. So yes, there is a Pearl entrance examination followed with the personal interview. Both will happen offline mode. So this year, we are conducting the Pearl entrance examination and the interview on January 27th and 28th of 2024. So both will happen offline, and Pearl entrance examination. There will be there is an eligibility, there is a selection criteria where you will be evaluated the proficiency in English language, logical reasoning, quantitative ability, and the data interpretations. So this will happen in the Pearl entrance examination. Of course, yes, there will be questions on the design aptitude test as well. So where you'll have to prove your aptitude in terms of your creativity, drawing, design ability, or maybe the power of observation, imagination, sensitivity, etc. So please note, all these are the MCQs. So there is nothing you need to explain it here, but however, you can show your creativity and your design ability in the personal interview mode. So this will happen offline, face to face. So for the entrance examination, you will be given a 90 minutes of time, and for the personal interview, so roughly it's like 20 to 30 minutes. So that is a time where you'll have to utilize maximum and prove your best, fullest, so that you can be a proud Pearlite. So addition to that, I have a very happy news to share it to you. This year we are offering 500 scholarships. So guys, yes, it is 500 scholarships. So this scholarship, of course, there is a selection process to this. This is purely a merit-based scholarship. So you will be offered the name of the scholarship is Who's Next Scholarship, and you will be offered the Who's Next Scholarship based on your performance in the Pearl entrance examination and the personal interview. So I'll just repeat this. So Who's Next Scholarship is based on your performance in the Pearl entrance examination, which includes the written examination and the personal interview, where you will have an opportunity to showcase your portfolio. So all the students who apply to Pearl for admission, be it with undergraduation or the post-graduation courses, have taken the Pearl Academy entrance examination and met the criteria of merit, you will be eligible to get the scholarship. So of course, yes, you will be qualified only if you clear the Pearl entrance and your 12th examination and the graduation exam. And yes, you should be the resident of India. So this is for the scholarship, whoever applies for it. And the scholarship criteria is very simple, that you will have to get through the Pearl entrance exam and the personal interview in a merit base. So whoever clears this, so you will be offered with the scholarship. This is about the Pearl entrance examination, personal interview, and the scholarship. So thank you for giving your time on Sunday, and we are open for the questions.
Thank you so much, Shruti and Dr. Sanyogita. I mean, it's been a very, very interesting conversation. So, Dr. Sanyogita, you brought out a whole range of careers, right? Many look entrepreneurial, many look like they've got employment opportunities and career opportunities in organizations or with independent designers. And really that broad set of opportunities came out of your talk. You also touched upon game design, right? And how game design is changing the way companies work, and the applications go beyond just games. Now, there's always this debate between game design and gamification, right? Where gamification is are tools used to get people to learn more, or let's say Duolingo, for example, right? They use gamification tools to get people hooked on to learning languages, right? And they keep coming back so that they increase their consistency. Are you aware of the difference between game design and gamification, or is it interchangeable?
So I'm not an expert on game design or gamification, but I will just say what little I know about it. Gamification I think gamification became more popular than game design. So I think game design is now gaining popularity because gamification is like a game design. So when supposing I think about 10 years ago, we thought that we would teach pattern making through gamification. Okay. We did not understand game design at that point of time. It wasn't something we were talking about loudly, but we thought that if pattern making can become more fun, more kids would be excited about learning pattern making. So we spoke about gamifying pattern making. Honestly, I think a game designer would do that job better. You and I can think about it. So you can come and say, I would really love to gamify how we are teaching or what we are doing, because that's how students. I mean, people are hooked onto the laptops or the mobile phones. But a game designer would know how to go about it, which I may not know and you may not know.
Right.
So I think today the game is like styling. So styling was something anybody could do. You and I 20 years ago said we can style anybody. We are so good at it. But today it is a technically taught subject. So a stylist who's qualified will do a better job than you and I would do. Is the same. I mean, I think it's the same thing. But if I'm wrong, I will apologize for it right away. I'm not a game designer, but this is what I have seen through my years in work. This is how it works.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's interesting because that was one of the distinctions, I think, where people are
So
probably.
so interestingly enough, people we had this game designer who came with he had designed a game for health. Okay, so it wasn't an app. It was actually he said you can use this pack of cards in any, and he's a game designer and he's designed this whole thing about nutrition and women. Okay, really exciting, but in the form of a pack of playing cards. So he says, people play cards, people want to play whatever board games you have today, which are really becoming more and more exciting. But he says, what about playing a game of health when you are having a kitty party with women, for example, like a group of women are sitting. Why don't they play a game of cards? But the game of cards is not cards; it's actually about health. It's about what you should eat, what you can do, how you can be a healthier person. So I think there's a lot happening in that field, Dion. And I don't think it's still hit its zenith, but it will at some point of time where more and more people use it to better what we are doing.
Absolutely. That sounds very interesting. Um, you also spoke about the importance of Pearl Academy having global exposure, life skill, and tech expertise, right? Why the combination of the three?
So if you look at the way the world is changing today, but there was a time when only people had to have an MBA to become a business person. Even today, the MBAs rule the roost. Having said that, there are people who are designers. They're creative. Yeah. So if you look at brands overseas, a lot of brands are led by design people. There are brands which are being headed by design people. Now, if you want to head that brand, and if you're this ambitious person and you want to be this person of tomorrow, lines are getting blurred somewhere, right? So you're not just being a designer today. So if you join a company, you're not just a designer who's making pretty things. You'll have to be tech savvy to understand how do you use technology to your advantage. Today, everything is becoming about being, time efficient, being person efficient, using your particular competency and skills for what you want to use it for. But having said that, you also need to understand technology. Technology is there to stay. So, if people come to us and say, I love designing, but I don't want to do technology, I tell them, please think again, do you want to really be in this field? Because you will have to absorb technology. You'll have to say you are okay to adapt and adopt technology is there as part of your life. And how do you adopt it unless you learn about it? So there used to be a time when fashion designers said, we don't want technology, we are designers. Yeah, but today fashion design is using technology. Cloth 3D is all about technology. If you're looking at what Style Lumia does in fashion forecasting, it's only AI and technology. It's helping a designer to do a better job. And if you want to become a leader in a company tomorrow, and today every leader is really young, I think you need to have life skills. And we are talking about communication skills. And I think global exposure, Dion, is not. So I think global exposure is important for everybody all over the world. We are sitting in India. For us, global exposure is the UK and Europe and USA and whatever. But for people sitting there, India is a global exposure.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to understand that today the world has become like a global village. Today you're working in Bangalore, tomorrow you may be working in the US, day after you may be working in Tokyo. So you need to understand, you need to have that exposure to understand how the world works.
Yeah, and and you bring that up because I've got a very good friend, a classmate who's a fashion blogger. He's one of India's most prominent men's fashion bloggers currently sitting in the States and blogging about stuff in India, you know. So it's
And how do you do it if you're not aware, right?
yeah.
And so we tell people, who join us, that join the trips that we take you on. So we do trips to London and blah blah. It is not because you're going abroad. It is because when you go there, you see a different culture. There's a cultural impact which is so strong in design.
Yeah.
And you need to keep in mind. So if you're designing for India, the cultural impact is very different. You're designing for Europe, it's very different. But unless you see it and you experience it and you learn it, or you're exposed to it, I mean, not even learn, you need to be exposed to it. When you decide to work, how can you, it'll help you when you start working, because today people, you don't see the value of it, but it will help you when you go into work.
Yep. And reminds me of what Sean says. Sean is, of course, the director of DQ Labs. He keeps saying that Indians are creative, but we lack exposure. So getting that exposure is very critical.
I think it's important, not because we are lesser than anybody. We are not. I think we have the maximum creativity. Our kids are brilliant, but sometimes they don't see it. So in a small town, you don't see so much. In Bangalore, you see much more. But imagine if you expose this child to something which is international, it just opens your eyes. It's nothing but opening your senses, opening your eyes. And then when you work, you bring that in unknowingly, it comes into your work because you've seen it somewhere. So, and when you come back and you're working on your stuff, unconsciously, unbidden to you, you do incorporate that. And that's how it happens. So
Absolutely.
we have brought in Shingo Sato to do a workshop many years ago in Pearl Academy, many years ago. He's a Japanese pattern maker. He's amazing. Okay. He came and he did a workshop. You won't believe it. Today, when I see some kids work, some faculty who attended his workshop still brings in what he taught. She may not say it is Shingo Sato, but when you see the patterns, you know that there's an influence of what he has taught. So, it is just that when you're exposed to it, it's a learning, right? Everything you see is a learning.
Yeah. So a couple of questions from Manish Bhatia, who's here, who says, thank you for joining for this opportunity. So his daughter's a foreign national, right? OCI holder.
Yeah.
But living and residing in Bangalore for the last 18 years and done all her schooling here. So would she be considered as an NRI, or would she be considered as an Indian citizen, or, as far as admissions are concerned, maybe Shruti?
Yeah, I'll take up that question, Dion.
Yeah.
Yes, if she was born overseas and if she has an OCI card with an Aadhaar card, so then she can definitely be considered as an Indian candidate. However, students have a option whether they want to apply it as an national Indian candidate or an international candidate. So it is up to them. But however, if they have a OCI card and an Aadhaar card, they can definitely be applied as an Indian candidate.
Okay. So does that mean they can be eligible for scholarships?
Yeah.
Yeah, if they apply it as an Indian student, yes, they definitely be eligible.
All right.
Yeah.
So the next thing is I've shared Lakshmikant's number there on the chat. So anyone wants to get in touch, you can get in touch with Lakshmikant directly. Another question. Do you offer BDES for luxury brand management or fashion management and lifestyle? BDES for those programs.
Yeah, so BDES is a 4-year program, and this fashion and lifestyle luxury brand management. So we offer a BBA degree, and this is a Bachelor's of Business Administration in fashion and lifestyle business management. That is one program. And there is another program which again offers a 3 years bachelor's degree program, which is a BBA, Bachelor's of Business Administration. That is Global Luxury and Brand Management. So these are two different programs.
Right. And so they're not BDES degrees, right? So
No.
BDES degrees are typically for the design streams.
Exactly.
And what you're asking, I mean, there's no name there, but what this person is asking is about brand management. So you're asking about management programs. So management programs are not associated with BDES degree, but management programs are also offered by Pearl Academy.
Yes, and it is offered with the BBA degree, and the name of the program is Global Luxury Brand Management. It's a 3 years program. Yeah.
All right. One more question on the aptitude test. Would there be general knowledge questions in the general aptitude test?
Yes, there will be a couple of them. There is a sample paper available on website. So if they just go through the sample paper, they will also have an idea on what are the varieties of modules which will be passed. So this is like the duration of the exam is 90 minutes, and the question could vary between 60 to 80 questions.
All right.
All right. So if they fill up the form, then the team will connect with them and give an idea on what are the different modules which will be covered in the entrance examination, and there will be demo exam as well for the students before appearing for the entrance examination. The entrance exam, I'm just repeating the dates. We are conducting the entrance examination and the personal interview both on offline mode. For the coming upcycle examination is on 27th and 28th of January 2024.
All right. So those who have not applied yet, the application link has been pinned to this chat and also put into the description of this webinar on YouTube. So please click on that link and make sure you specifically click this link, because what happens is with this, when you click this link, it tells Pearl Academy somehow that you're from DQ Labs, and that goes to a particular counselor. So that counselor gives you the information so that is assigned for DQ Labs, right? So that would be good if you specifically click on this link. And if you haven't clicked on this link and still applied, do let us know. So it'll help, streamline the process. Few other questions. Kavya Sudev is asking, if I do BDES in fashion design and a master's in fashion management, what are a few career opportunities that I can go for?
Hi, Kavya. So good question. And a lot of people do that. So as a fashion designer, you understand product, you understand what is fashion, you understand trends. I think when you club it along with the MBA, BBA, whatever, you'll probably move into the management side. You'll probably become a brand manager or something like that. Opportunities are galore. It depends on what you want to do. But if you have a business and you have a fashion, 90% of the time you would stop being an active design person. You'll move more into the management side. Great opportunities there. I think brand management is huge. Product managers are huge. Category management is part of what you could do. And if you look at the way retail is going, of course, you have standalone stores and brands, but you also have a huge number of multi-brand outlets. You have all the online brands that are available. So a lot of them actually would look at your skills if you do a combination of both.
Interesting. So Kavya, I hope you've got your answer clearly. Ankita is asking, what companies come for campus placements?
Okay, so Ankita, I don't know which part you're looking at, but if I look at technology, we had Accenture, IBM, Tech Mahindra, to name a few. We've had Capgemini, we've had Deloitte who's come, we've had PhonePe, sorry, not Payphone. We've had PhonePe, we've had other startups like them who have come. We've also had the Arvind brands who've come. We've had Myntra who has taken our students. Amazon has taken. So we look at recruiters. I think we have 550 plus recruiters, Dion. And we look at them across, because we've realized there's no point saying fashion design, only fashion brands. No. Tech companies come and ask for fashion designers.
Yeah.
So we don't know who is looking for whom. So tech companies like Accenture, IBM, apart from looking for communication designer students, also look for fashion design students. So I think, as I said, I keep saying lines are blurring, because I think what they're looking at is the designer, and they're looking at people who understand what design is all about. So one of our alumni actually is a team lead in IBM today. She did fashion design. She's a team lead in IBM. So we've had students who get picked up. So today, now what we do is, just to give your parents a view, we have a tech week, which will happen sometime in December, January, where tech companies come and we show student portfolios. Now, actually, honestly, I might think they're looking for a certain kind of student, but they could be looking for others. So we have a tech week, we have brands who come for campus placement, and we just open the door to people because we don't know exactly. When they come to campus and we start saying, okay, you want to see portfolio, we realize that they could be looking for different profiles. So
Right.
sometimes the recruiter may not know. So see that there's a gap in what you think a person does and what a person actually can do. So when you put portfolios out and you make students meet them, there's actually a match of people who you don't think might match, but it works. So we try and get as many on campus as possible.
All right. Another question from Pradeepa Krishnan, who's saying, we are NRI. My son is doing his class 12. If we apply as Indian candidate, can we do the exam online as we are NRIs?
Okay, Dion, as of now, I cannot say yes or no to this question because if there is any update, we will update you. But as on date, the examination mode is offline and the personal interview mode is offline. So, however, if the student has applied to Pearl and keen to look for being in overseas and keen to look for taking up a Pearl entrance examination, please ask them to be in touch with Lakshmikant, and if there is any updates, we'll update them.
That's great. Perfect.
Sure.
Lakshmikant's number has been shared in this chat, but I will also put it in the description of this webinar. Final question again from Pradeepa. Is it mandatory to do only offline, or is there an option for online so we can plan ahead and book tickets for travel? So Pradeepa, your question has been answered. Please be in touch with Lakshmikant, and Lakshmikant will probably help you out with that. But in all probability, you would need to book your tickets in advance to make sure that you're here ahead of the exam. All right. And with this, let's end this some appreciation from Manisha Prabhu for this chat, for this talk, and a few others. Manish Bhatia as well. So thank you so much, Sanyogita. Thank you so much, Shruti. It's been a pleasure having you all here, getting questions answered about the career, about career paths, about the various opportunities, about Pearl Academy, about the admission entrance process. Fantastic. It's been a very wholesome conversation.
Thank you so much, Dion. Thank you, parents. I know Sunday is a tough day to be out, but thank you so much for giving us your time. And thank you, Dion. Always a pleasure to come to your forum. So if you've answered the questions, I'm happy. Anything else you need, always reach out to us. You know where we are. Reach out to us. Happy to answer and help parents out. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks, Shruti.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Dion. Thank you,
much.
students and parents. It was very nice to talk to you on a Sunday morning. Please do connect with us for your any additional inquiries. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Take care.